If I was still playing my Italian boxer, I could say I'm a five-time, 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 five-time champ.
Perfect. All right, so we are up to session 39 of Massive Nyarlathotep. And so far, you guys are physically intact and mostly mentally intact. Um,
Mm,
yeah, I said
really?
mostly. I said mostly.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true.
But after talking with Jack Brady in Shanghai, you guys have a much clearer idea as to what you need to do to try to avert this upcoming apocalypse. You've successfully gathered the two parts for the stone for the Eye of Light and Darkness, which can be used to seal ritual sites to hopefully stop the various cults from enacting their nefarious rituals. And you've traveled to Egypt, successfully, though accidentally, destroying the cult there. With a little bit of a trip to the Dreamlands.
Still counts.
It still counts. Blundering into success is still a success. And now you guys have traveled to Kenya, uh, where you're hoping to find a location called the Mountain of the Black Wind, which seems to have figured predominantly in some of your investigations. This is also where the Carlisle expedition supposedly met its end. You have since found out that all of the members, save one, are accounted for. You've met some of them. You've met Brady. You know that Robert Carlyle is in an insane asylum in Hong Kong. You know that Arthur Penhew is in Shanghai. You know that Sir Aubrey is in. No, sorry, Robert Houston is in Australia. The unaccounted for member is Hypatia Masters, who is Carlisle's girlfriend. But you guys are here in recently disembarked in Mombasa. While you're at the docks, an old acquaintance or someone who moved in the same circles as Miles was here as well. A gentleman named Colonel Henry Endicott, who runs basically a safari, a game lodge near Nairobi, who has fallen on some bad luck. There's been some deaths at his lodge, and has kind of tarnished the reputation. He's having a hard time getting anyone to come on safari. But he has extended an invitation to you guys, if you're happen to be traveling to Nairobi, to come to his lodge. You guys plied him with some drinks to see if he knew anything. He ended up getting very inebriated, talking about his time in the Boer War and some very disparaging attitudes towards the native population here. But you guys have kind of taken him a little ways off to see if you can't get more information before he passes out drunk. And I believe that's where we left off.
I think so.
Yeah, he was. We were leading him to a more private room, and he was muttering, "I just want you back," under his breath. And I seem to know what that means, but you didn't tell me what that means.
Yep. Miles, you would be aware that about, let's see, this is 1925. So about 6 years ago, shortly after his arrival in Nairobi, shortly after he opened his game lodge, Henry's wife and young son both died. They both caught ill and died.
Maybe that's how we bonded, considering that our circumstances are kind of similar, other than how our family died.
Yep. But you guys have him in a, basically walking him up to the rooms that you guys have at the hotel. And we'll turn it over to you guys.
Is he still gloomy and crying?
He is very drunk, and he's kind of fluctuating between like morose drunk and blubbering drunk, and you know, not quite angry drunk, but sometimes very loud drunk.
Okay. Well, that has been a fun evening.
Beats the Dreamlands.
I mean, yes. Maybe by not enough, though.
So, does
we
it
wanna
seems like that guy wanna keep talking, or he's just slowly burning away?
He's he is slowly on his way to checking it.
I don't have anything intelligent to ask him, so
you you have any knowledge of a place that local would call the Mountain of the Black Wind?
He kind of like looks at you, and it takes a moment for like his eyes to focus. Like for a second, he's kind of looking through you. He's like, don't say that name.
That bad, eh?
It's nothing but trouble.
What kind of trouble?
That's what they were looking for.
Who
I mean,
was?
it cannot be that bad, can it?
The last bout of good fortune I had.
Was it the Carlisle expedition?
Troublemakers, the lot of them.
What did they do?
Made promises they couldn't keep.
Are they partly responsible for your bad luck?
Probably nothing's been the same since they were here.
What would it take for a fella to go to that mountain? Except being crazy a bit.
Need a guide, need supplies.
You know where it is, which mountain it is.
Yeah, but shouldn't go there.
Can you tell me which mountain it is?
Mount Satima.
It would be a shame to have to take our business elsewhere.
Sorry, you said Natima?
Satima. Satima.
Sorry, who is Satima?
That's the name of the
And Miles can give me a natural Natural world roll. Natural lore.
I don't have enough luck to push that.
You've heard of the mountain. It's fairly famous. You've never been there, so you don't know what it's like to get there. But it is the third highest mountain in Kenya.
Well, I know of it, but I can't quite place where it is. Basically, look for one of the top 5 highest mountains in the country, and it's one of them. But I'm not sure which one it is.
Mm. Yeah, don't go
Wait,
looking for trouble.
we should
Oh,
be
my
able
good
to
friend is
purchase
the
a
only
map.
thing that we are good at.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And yeah, Miles, that if you pick up a map, it'll be easy enough to pinpoint on a map.
Yeah, we just have to go purchase a map.
What can you tell me about what the Carlisle expedition asked and did?
No, not gonna mention them anymore.
They did a great deal of trouble, and we need to fix some of that.
Not-
We're not very fond of them, but we kind of need to fix their shit.
Good, good boy. And he kind of like slaps you on the cheek.
Yeah. Anything you can tell me about the beast that's been plaguing your territory?
Lions, tigers.
Yeah, the one you said that it was one special one that did cause you some trouble.
Haven't seen it myself. You guys can give me psychology rolls.
Woo! Eugene! Holy!
It's gonna
Wow.
happen sometimes statistically. I
Yeah.
can just roll crap with it.
No, because that's my job.
Evelyn and Eugene, do you guys both pick up like he's in his drunken state? He still has kind of enough wits to be somewhat evasive on the topic of the animal that has been responsible. And Eugene, you pick up there's like an underlying like you see like his eyes kind of go wide. He kind of like, you know, his breath gets a little bit shallower. He's afraid.
We can. I feel this beast is more than a normal hunt.
More than meets
Miles
the
has a good
eye.
experience with that kind of thing. We can help you get rid of that, but you're gonna need to help us help you.
Mm. If you, if you help on, I know a guide. He's a good guide.
You could get us to the place we need to be.
You don't want to go there.
Yeah, we don't want to go there. We know. Man, what we want and what we need to do are two different things.
If you help me with this beast, and I'll show you who to talk to.
And you'll tell us about what the Carlisle did.
No.
We should stop pushing and maybe
Yeah.
take our rest now before somebody says something that they will regret.
Yeah. I think it's a good base to start working together. Maybe it's time for us to take a rest.
Take the train tomorrow to Nairobi.
Yeah.
We have a hunt to prepare.
And then he kind of like drunkenly staggers to his room.
I'm gonna once he's delivered. Do you think it was just disease that took his family? I feel more and more like that beast is more than just a wild animal.
The
He
man
might
is
have,
proud. I don't think he's gonna talk easily about that.
yeah. I think he has closer experience to your trouble, Miles, than we expected.
We share some similarities in our fortunes, shall we say. His may or may not be more mundane than my circumstances were.
Gary just realized that he didn't know anything about what Miles had in his life, and for the first time, has not any quirky quip to say.
Right. And unless anybody is doing anything, I assume folks are going to bed.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Jaime's not here, Alvin will insist on watches.
Oh yeah.
Good, he can keep them all.
There you go.
If
I'll
you
make.
can't be a game, you get to be on watch.
We just
I'll
brew
still
him
give
a
him a
big
hand with.
giant pot of coffee.
I'll still give him a hand with that.
I mean, I was going to suggest it too, but yeah, sure. Alvin can take that bullet.
I'm gonna
Someone
give him
roll
a
for
hand.
Alvin. All
Right. So when you guys get up in the morning, and you do wake up in the morning,
Nice.
it's like it's already hot when you wake up. You are on the coast, so it's very hot and humid. So basically, somewhere around like 30 degrees with like 88% humidity,
Ugh.
and it's still morning.
Gonna have to get linen and hats.
But you guys can have breakfast. Is there anything else you want to do? The train doesn't leave until like afternoon.
What should we need for that hunt, Sir Miles?
Mm, I don't know if he provides everything, to be honest with you. So that's
Good
something to ask
question.
him when he wakes up.
I spoke with him yesterday about his elephant gun. Ask him some advice on eye caliber for big hunt. Probably gonna try to get my hand on something like that. He can probably advise on where to get that. Uh, we might want to do our little routine and grab a couple of local newspaper so we have something to read on the train and check
That's
for
what I was
strange
thinking.
happenstance.
Yes, catch up on the news, some reading material for the train. I was thinking the same thing.
Just in case there's some notable things.
Exactly.
I never been a safari hunt before.
Neither
Neither
have
have
I.
Yeah, so you guys can easily pick up an elephant gun if you want to. You know, firearms are easy for people going on safari.
I.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I'll buy an elephant gun too. Oh, and a map.
Okay.
Actually, more than one map. Why risk losing just one? Maps
Should
for
we
everybody.
hire should we hire a local guide? Or are we going to trust the colonel to be sober
Well,
enough?
the colonel said that if we could give him a hand, he would help us find the right local guide.
Plus, we need the map to figure out which mountain it is specifically to know where to get that guide.
True,
Yeah,
yes.
we can't just take one here and bring him all the way halfway to Africa.
Come, young fellow, travel part of the country with us.
Yeah,
We promise we'll try to keep you safe.
we'll bring him back. I swear.
Bring him back mentally scarred. Yes, yes. Who wouldn't want to take up that opportunity?
It's just gonna cost you a bit of blood and just a bit of chanting and the rituals. Everything's fine.
Just drive fast and don't look behind you.
Don't ask question about the tentacles.
What tentacles?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So yeah. So with the map, it's the mountain is it is near Nairobi. Uh, it's a bit of a hike from Nairobi, and there are no roads or train or anything of that nature. It is literally a hike through the jungle.
My favorites.
Exactly how far is it to get an idea on how much stuff we would have to bring?
Barring anything going wrong, with skilled people traveling through the jungle, you're looking at about a week. With a bunch of city folks, um, 10 days, if not longer.
So I could do it in about a week. The rest could maybe do it in 10 days.
Yep. And that's with a guide.
Would we get that guide
So
in
let's plan
Nairobi?
for 2 weeks.
You would be better off getting a guide in Nairobi.
Okay.
We shouldn't plan for 2 weeks then.
That's a reasonable precaution.
But yeah, and it is. I mean, you can easily pick up guidebooks and stuff. It is the third highest mountain in Kenya. It's got an elevation of probably somewhere around, probably around 3,000 meters above sea level. Like it is
Air's
a
getting mighty
mountain.
thin. Hey, big guy, air's getting mighty thin.
Yeah. But yeah, you can either lay in supplies here or you can get them in Nairobi. Either way.
I think we should might as well just get them in Nairobi. Why lug them all the way from here?
I agree.
Your expertise will be my. I'm gonna go with your expertise.
So yes, the mountain Mount Satima is the highest peak in the Aberdare Range, third highest mountain in Kenya, with an elevation of roughly 3,000 meters above sea level. And actually, why doesn't Miles give me another natural world roll?
Sorry, natural world?
Yep. So Miles, you are aware that the Aberdare Range, it is a tropical forest, i.e. a jungle, but it is also uniquely temperate. There are giant cedar trees, there's olives, there's fig trees. It gradually gives way to bamboo as the altitude rises. The undergrowth is exceptionally thick, so it is very slow travel. The slopes of the mountain themselves are generally wet with mist and fog and rain. There's a lot of streams to cross that are oftentimes much faster than they appear on the surface. It's not unheard of for people to go like, oh, I'll just ford this tiny little stream, but for the undertow current to basically whisk them away, never to be seen again. You can expect to find like giant hogs, leopards. None of like the really big game is near the mountains, so you're not going to find elephants or lions that close to the mountain. You are going to have to be on the lookout for things called bearded vultures, which are basically eagle-sized birds of prey. And at the lower elevations, the green mamba is particularly numerous, which is a poisonous snake, not quite as lethal as the black mamba. And occasionally you may run into cobras and adders.
Sorry, what was the name of the bird again?
It is called a bearded vulture.
Sorry, they attack people because usually vultures are scavengers.
Yep, these are specifically, they are birds of prey. Not known to attack humans, but it is something to keep an eye out if you have any sort of pack animals or anything that you're trying to pull through the jungle.
Sorry, and what was the name?
Sorry?
Their name again? Vulture. What kind of vulture?
Bearded vultures.
All right, I'll start relaying this information. So we have a temperate jungle with some potential deadly wildlife. Big hogs and leopards being the most common, at least among the four-legged variety. And then there's this thing called a bearded vulture, which, unlike other vultures, isn't necessarily a scavenger, and it may attack us, but it will most certainly go after pack animals if we bring anything like a mule or something to carry our horses, carry our things. And then there are various types of snakes, and we have to watch our footing because of some treacherous waters that could potentially, if you get caught in them, sweep you away.
Lovely.
Chris,
Remind
when it Sorry, Chris, quickly, when it comes to the actual trek, is this a hike or is this we're going to be actual climbing using our hands and stuff as well as our feet?
Depends on how far up the mountain you need to go. The lower elevations do have like animal paths and the like, but if you have to go up into the higher elevations,
Elevation.
there may be points where you need to actually climb.
I heard about a couple of venomous animal through that. Is there? Can we buy anti-poison, anti-venom before we head that way?
You certainly can.
I'll try to stock up on that. Like anti-venom and like common disease you can catch around,
Yep.
like malaria and stuff like that. I out of game do not know exactly what I need to look out for, but I'll try to get that info.
Yeah, with Miles's role in the natural world, you guys are knowledgeable enough about the things that you need to lay in for supplies.
Now, here's the other big question. Can we hire a bunch of Sherpas to just carry us up like in that Simpsons episode where the Homer thought he climbed it or whatever?
So they can bring us up while we sleep.
Reminds me of my bar mitzvah.
Everything reminds you of your bar mitzvah.
Yeah, I don't remember my bar mitzvah really well.
But yes, you guys can easily lay in the supplies that you need. Unless there's anything specific that you want, we'll just kind of assume it all comes under survival here.
We talked about getting local journals and papers so we can check for strange incidents and stuff like that while we're on the train. If that's all right.
Certainly can. Yeah, you can easily get some newspapers to read on the train.
Just to see if a boat has been attacked by a giant squid monster. No, surprise.
No, nothing out of the ordinary. But it is very clear that the newspapers focus on the things that happen, like in the cities, like in Nairobi or in Mombasa.
Yeah.
There's nothing. What happens in the jungle stays in the jungle. Apparently.
It's good and it's bad. But noted. So let's get on the train.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Train, boat, near-death experience. Train, boat, near-death experience.
So the train, it is obviously a steam locomotive. The rail line, it's about 600 miles. You guys do notice that the sleeper cars are made of steel as opposed to wood. And seating is by class and by race. So directly behind the locomotive, like a wood-burning locomotive, there is the flat car, which is for freight and native Africans. It offers no protection at all from the weather. It is an open flat car. Then there is the mail car, the baggage car, the freight car. And then there is the third class car, which is for people of Asian or Arabic descent, which does in fact have seating, but it's row seating. And then there's the dining car, And then as far back from the locomotive and the smoke and the pollution as possible is the first class car, which is for white Europeans and Americans, which actually has like compartments and berths and the like.
Hey, Chris, since you didn't bring it up, did Endicott either join us for breakfast or is he meeting us on the train or do we bump into him while we're getting our errands run?
You can bump into him, but he will basically meet you at the train.
Yeah, I just took some advice from him for the gun.
Yep.
So I buy the right one at the right place at the right price.
Perfect. Yeah, you guys have like the $50,000 from Jackson, so money is not an object.
Yeah, but if I need to shoot a Shagot, I want the biggest gun I can get my hand on.
Okay.
So it will do absolutely nothing and will still die.
Yep, but still,
Hey, let's
I'll
all buy
feel
elephant gun.
I'll feel confident that I used the biggest caliber I could, even if I die.
Don't shoot green glowing hands.
Yeah, no, that's a no. That's a no for me.
So are you guys traveling, since you are eligible, are you guys traveling first class or third class?
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's safer to be first class. Maybe we could
Get
talk
me
with-
out of the cattle car.
Yeah, first class looks good. I'm gonna have a little bit of guilt, but not that much.
Basically.
This will be better than your bar mitzvah.
Yep.
So yeah, so your car is towards the back of the train. Even with that, it is still, it is loud, it is noisy. It's fairly packed. There's a lot of people traveling to Nairobi. Talking about the extinct animals and all of the standard touristy type stuff. These people are very obviously like, most of the people you spot would not know like an elephant from a crocodile sort of thing, but they're happy to be going to see the dangerous animals in the wilds of Africa. They seem
If they knew.
if they only knew. But you guys can easily get a compartment to yourselves, and kind of set off on your rail adventure. And as the train gets underway, I mean, even far at the back, there is still like, you can still faintly smell the wood smoke and the smell of oil and like general just kind of industrial smells. It's not unpleasant. All of you have traveled by train before. The journey takes about 16 hours. And as the train gets underway, kind of looking at the windows, you can see like the kind of the coastal belt kind of disappears and gives way to plains and then forest and then dense brush that has been like cut back. Periodically you travel across like these like vast plains. I mean, we've all seen videos of the African plains. The temperature is hot, but it does become less humid as you travel inland. Periodically, you see animals that you've only ever seen in zoos before. Elephants, rhinoceroses, giraffes, herds of herbivores. Periodically, you see things that you look like they might be not quite normal animals. A little bit like kind of bulbous creatures. But then you kind of blink and no, it was just the way that the light was hitting the elephant. Probably.
I mean, if somebody would describe me an elephant with absolutely no prior knowledge of the beast, I would assume it's a monsters from Cthulhu, like a big tentacle protruding from behind its two giant teeth.
Yep.
That sounds eldritch.
And as day goes into evening, there's a little bit of a rain squall, nothing that you need to concern yourselves with. Doesn't even slow the train down, but you can't help but think about all those people like on the open cart at the front of the train. The train climbs steadily. Off to the west, you can see the snow-capped peak of Mount Kilimanjaro. It is quite distant, but it is easily viewable even at this distance. You can see glints of other mountains far off to the north. Miles, you'd be aware that those mountains that you see off to the north, that is the Aberdare Range. That is the range where the Mountain of the Black Wind is. So they're impressive mountains.
And we're gonna climb that.
Potentially, we don't know exactly how high we need to go to find whatever it is the expedition found or didn't find.
Once Alvin wakes up, I'm going to have to thank him for my leg, aren't I?
That would be proper.
I mean, Peru was bad, but at least Luther was there to help. This, I would not want to climb this. That looks absolutely terrible.
It's not what I think a holiday should look like, but I mean, we'll have to do it.
In the wee hours of the morning, you guys have been, lulled to sleep as the train kind of does the gentle train rocking sort of thing. Is anybody staying up to keep watch, or are you leaving that to Alvin?
I think we're leaving that to Alvin again. We're letting him
Uh,
sleep in the day and he can watch overnight.
I'm helping him with that. I'm just not like he won't do all the shift of keeping watch.
Honestly, I kind of did not think of it, so I will fall asleep.
Right.
Like the squirrel part I am.
Okay. Eugene, you can give me a listen roll.
Okay.
Right. So you and Alvin are just kind of, sitting there, playing cards, playing like Pinochle or other 1920s card game like Whist or something. And you smell smoke, and not the like kind of constant low grade wood smoke um, from the locomotive. This smells like kind of sickly sweet. And give me a spot hidden roll.
spot hidden roll?
Spot hidden. All right.
Can hear for shit, but apparently you can see things.
So yeah, so you kind of sniff and you can smell that. And you just kind of like absently kind of glance, and you see the wallpaper on your compartment is starting to blister. And there is a glow outside the compartment window, kind of a reddish glow.
If I get my my hand a bit closer, do I feel some heat?
Oh God, yes.
I'm gonna call for fire.
Okay. So those of you who are sleeping, you do hear Eugene kind of yell out, fire, fire.
And I'm gonna try to check what the fuck is happening.
So you kind of glance out the window at the source of this light, and the light seems to be keeping pace with the train. And you look, and there's these two. They look like very, very small stars that seem to be like kind of pushed up against the side of your compartment on the outside. And you can see like little rivulets of molten metal falling away as they are basically burning their way through the solid metal. You can give me a Cthulhu Mythos roll and a Sanity roll.
Just him or everybody?
He's the one that looked out the window.
Yeah, I did the stupid thing.
%.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend the luck. Yeah, I have problems.
You do.
All right. You recognize those. Actually, I believe you've recently read about them in a book. Those are fire vampires.
Yeah, I just read that. Damn it.
They are like very, very like small stars with incredible heat. The touch of one will like burn like a human to ash in no time flat.
Do I remember any way of getting rid of that from the book?
The book explained how to summon them and how to bind them.
Huh. How does the binding work?
It takes a couple of minutes.
Could I just try to hijack them that way?
You can certainly try. The rest of you, though, you guys have woken up. You can smell the burning. You see Eugene kind of like looking out the window, his mouth kind of agape.
Trying to get some water or some bucket of liquid.
Give me 1 second. It's because initiative might matter for this.
Sorry, I'm not sure I got that.
Yeah, I'm just throwing some characters onto a.
Okay, sorry.
Just because initiative might matter.
I like the image. I just realized.
Don't know why it's showing my fire vampires as being prone and wounded.
Oh, wishful thinking.
There we go.
I can't say I like how they're both on me. Just,
All right. So Gary, you're up.
Yeah, I want to try to get a bucket of liquid or something and yell fire to the other side of the train.
All right. Give me a luck roll. All right. So there are fire extinguishers here and there. The luck roll is basically just to see how close you were to one. So there is
Two
one, but
cards away.
it's like halfway down the carriage from where you are.
Nah, still.
But yeah, you can make your way down, and as you do, you can see other people are kind of coming out of their cabins, and do you smell that? I heard somebody yell fire. Wait, there's something burning. Like there's people are starting to get roused, even though it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and are basically wandering around, kind of confused because they've just been woken up, but they can smell smoke, and they're on a train, so they're trapped. So like panic hasn't set in yet, but it's probably not long off. But you can make your way out and down to where the basically like kind of the old fashioned pump fire extinguishers are.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah, there's fire extinguishers stuff because it's the 1920s, so like everybody smokes like all the time.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it and light up a cigarette at the same time.
There you go. That'll take us 2 miles.
Okay, so all I've heard is fire right now, and if I don't see enough people reacting to it, so what, Eugene and Gary are basically trying to do bucket brigade?
No, I screamed for fire, and then I screamed again for fire vampires, and I'm trying to do something about them.
So you yelled out fire vampires?
Yep.
I don't know if I've encountered a fire vampires, so
We
I'm
did
I'm
not,
thinking
but
water might be a good idea, so I'm gonna go look for a water source.
All right, perfect. So you can follow Gary out. There are like fire extinguishers and like buckets of sand and stuff here and there. So
Let's build a castle.
hi. So you can see that the metal like the wallpaper on the inside of your compartment is starting to basically smolder and burn away. And you can see like little bits of flame and like bulges and bubbles in the metal, but they have not yet gotten through. That will take us to Eugene.
uh, I'm gonna try to do the thing to try to bind the vampires, because I don't know how to stop them. So oh, could you hear
All right.
me?
Yep. Just got to find my bindings.
Yep.
Binding. Ooh, binding. Ooh, it only takes 1 round to bind something.
Only take one round.
It's 1 round to bind something. So I do need you to make a hard power roll.
Okay. Can I try to use the Vorish sign first?
That will take a round as well.
Oh. I don't know how fast those things are gonna go through the wall. Hard power roll.
A hard power roll.
I need to get half of my power.
Yes.
Dang, that's hard. Ends the name, but I'm gonna take the round to cast a Vorus sign.
Okay. That will take us to Evelyn.
Oh dear. Um.
So you can see the metal starting to bubble and buckle. You can see Eugene making that strange symbol, like he's going to do something magical.
Yeah.
Let's call a dimensional trembler.
Let's not.
I don't have anything about these creatures. So I'm going to just scramble to the other side of the train car.
Okay.
I mean, he looks like he's doing something, and I don't know what to do. So yeah, the last time she did panicky magic, things went really sideways, and she would rather not do that on a moving train.
All right.
It
Top of.
was bad enough when she was standing still.
All right. So Evelyn kind of scrambles away.
Oh yeah.
You guys can feel the train is starting to slow down. Apparently, the calls of fire have kind of gone out, and the train is starting to slow. And people are in the process of doing things. Gary, you have gotten to a fire extinguisher.
Running back to the train car.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So you get back to the train car. You see, like, Evelyn has basically gotten out of the room. Eugene is standing there and basically waving his hands in the air and making these strange symbols with his hands. You can't quite see anything in the room yet. But what would you like to do?
I like the spray the bubbling metal.
Okay. Perfect. It pretty much instantly turns to steam. And the steam kind of like, fills the room to a limited extent. But it does seem to have the effect that you would think it would have.
I'm just thinking, try not to melt the wall too fast.
Gotcha. Okay. Miles.
If I have water and or sand, I'm going to try to contribute.
Okay. You can grab either a bucket of sand or like a pump fire extinguisher, your choice.
I'll go with the extinguisher.
All right. So you're basically kind of like Gary grabs the one off the left wall, you grab the one off the right wall, sort of thing. So you're like literally right behind him. You hosing down the wall as well?
Yeah, I'm also curious. Is Endicott in this car with us?
No, he has his own car.
Fancy, fancy.
Fancy. Also, there's only so much room in a train car. And there are 5 of you.
Yeah, I suppose that's true too.
So this was known as the first Super Sorker battle. It's canon now.
So there's some more bubbling of the wall. But one of the fire vampires basically, you see this shape, this, like, it almost looks like a floating ball of superheated plasma, and basically just kind of peels off from the outside wall and comes towards the glass into your compartment, and the glass just like starts to run like a river from the sheer heat of this thing. And it is going to try to burnicate Eugene.
Burn an egg.
Okay, so Eugene, you could roll your dodge if you like.
Oh yeah, I would very much like to dodge.
Okay.
I would have liked to be better at this.
You're too big.
Oh. So there's this sickening smell of burning flesh, and Eugene's like the flesh on his arms and his legs and his face starts to melt like the guy at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I'm sorry, who is melting?
Eugene.
Eugene.
Oh no! Oh no!
So I'm going to need a Constitution check from Eugene.
Can I spend the 2 lucks?
You certainly can. You do not pass out from the pain. But that is a major wound. You immediately fall prone. And this thing, and also I need a power roll.
From me?
Yep. As it leeches away a little bit of your soul.
Can I spend 2 luck again?
If you would like to, yes.
I'd like to keep my soul.
So it does not drain any of your magic points. But I do need everybody who's in the room, so everybody at this point, to give me a sanity roll.
Do I need to make another one?
No, you're good.
Fuck me sideways.
Both Miles and Evelyn are like, yeah, I've seen worse.
Yeah, recently even. I find it funny that these 2 characters who were severely traumatized last time were okay this time.
It's
We are
because we are so
damaged.
traumatized.
We're definitely damaged.
I was
Oh.
exposed to a traumatic event.
All right. I finally figured out how to do sanity rolls in the system. So for a brief moment, Gary, you just kind of like the sight of this thing like melting Eugene. Like you can see his bone, you can smell his blood boiling. Thankfully, it's hot enough that the wound cauterizes almost instantly. So it's basically it's not bloody. It's just like a bunch of charred flesh and bone that you can see clearly through the through the remnants of his pants.
That's attached to his buddy Eugene.
Yeah. Lose a point of sanity. Drop the fire extinguisher.
That seems right.
Right. But Eugene, you're up. You're in a world of pain. You don't think that leg is ever going to be the same again.
Yeah,
But-
that's a harsh day.
But you are functional.
I'm gonna try to finish that spell.
All right.
Targeting the thing trying to burn me the fuck down.
All right. So you start to chant, and you guys all hear like Eugene, like he's making this symbol, and he starts to kind of chant under his breath in this language none of you recognize, but you've heard before. The cultists were chanting it when they were doing their cultist things. And now, because you did the verse sign first, just a normal power roll.
Yeah, because the hard one is a bit too hard. God damn it.
So you could spend a bunch of luck.
I do not have enough.
You can push the roll. Pushing the roll means that the spell will in fact take effect, but there may be consequences.
I'm not gonna die if I don't. So I think I'm gonna try pushing.
Okay.
Out of spite.
Yep.
Right. So it's going to be 1 point of sanity loss for casting the spell. And a number of magic points equal to 1/5 of its power. Do some quick math here. Uh, 15 magic points.
Okay. I'm out.
Okay. So if you don't have enough magic points, you can sacrifice hit points for magic points on a 1-for-1 basis.
It's gonna cost me 1 hit point. I have 14 magic point.
Okay. But you did succeed at the pushed casting roll, so there is no other effect. So the final thing is a power roll. This is the first time you guys have done such a convoluted spell.
Success.
It is a regular success. I got a hard success. The fire vampire is not under your control.
Well, fuck.
Evelyn, who has managed to retain her wits.
Somewhat. Sorry, those things are still coming through, aren't they?
One of them is in the room with you and has melted Eugene.
Yeah.
And the other one is trying to get through the wall.
Shit. I'm gonna start casting the barrier
All right.
of Noctith.
All right.
It takes a minute to cast, though.
All right. So you start frantically
And
casting.
I don't know if it's gonna work. We're in a moving vehicle.
All right. Say, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Yeah, it's kind of the only thing she's got.
Okay.
Why did I? Because I don't. It doesn't say anything about being on a moving vehicle.
Yep.
So do you need a roll from me now or a roll at the end of a minute?
At the end of the minute.
Okay.
Okay. That will take us to Gary.
Trying to grab back the thing I just dropped and spray that thing.
Okay. Make a, we'll call this a brawl roll. It's like an improvised weapon.
Of course not.
You could spend 20 luck if you'd like. It's a lot of luck, though.
I'm just trying to think, am I frightened enough that I will burn all of that luck on it? Yeah, I'm a gambler, I will.
Okay. It will attempt to dodge out of the way, but it does not. So, fire extinguisher versus a fire vampire. One second. Every time I find something else in the PDF, it shrinks my page size. Does a D6 points of damage to it. So you can roll a D6.
Sorry, who?
Gary. He hit it with the fire extinguisher. So like looking in horror, you kind of like quickly grab up that fire extinguisher, like pump it a couple of times to prime it, and unleash on it, and the thing like dissipates, kind of folds in on itself. There's a pile of steam, but as the steam kind of like disperses throughout the chamber, the creature is vanquished.
Miles, it works. It works, Miles.
Speaking of, Miles is up.
So what? Spraying them directly with the fire extinguisher?
Seem to work.
Well, if the other one's there, I'm going to spray it.
The other one is like outside the train chamber, trying to like melt through the wall still, but there is no more window because this one melted through. So you can like lean out the window if you like.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. So that is a brawling roll.
I'm going to spend the luck.
Okay.
Who needs luck?
Sorry, how do I do the luck again?
If you right click on the 49. Oh, sorry, left click on it. And you'll get an option to spend 9 luck to pass. So you it does try to move out of the way, but it is still kind of like melting its way through the wall. So you can roll a d6 for the damage.
D6?
D6. Oof, good damage rolls. As that one is trying to melt through the wall, you kind of like lean out the window, kind of like prime your fire extinguisher light, prime it a couple of more times just to make up for like the wind from the train that's slowing. And that one disappears. There is still some screaming from outside. There is still the train is slowing, but the general threat at this point seems to be over.
Trying to attend to Eugene's wound. I don't know how, but I'll try.
I have first aid. I don't know which one of us is best at that. It might be Evelyn.
Well, it's probably one of you.
I don't know, but that means I can stop trying magic.
What the actual fuck is trying to kill us right now? Damn it.
First aid? Yeah, my first aid's better than my medicine.
Mine
So
too.
I would like to try first aid at 37.
Two people can attempt first aid at a time, and if either of you succeed, then it will be considered successful.
Oh, good.
I have 30. I can try.
Holy miles.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're good.
Holy Evelyn.
Didn't see that coming. I'm glad it's there, though.
The irony is, right before this game started, I was watching one of the YouTube channels I like. This guy named Simon Whistler was doing a video on the history, the quote-unquote gruesome history of plastic surgery.
Eugene is probably going to need some. But between Miles and Evelyn, as as the train is slowing down, because it takes some time to do the first aid. You basically kind of like you grab some of your supplies that you picked up, kind of clean the wound as best you can, dress it. He's not currently in danger of dying, but you know that underneath that bandage and that splint is just like raw flesh and bone. You're shocked that he has not passed out from this.
I'm sure some cocaine could help this. Do we have any cocaine?
No, we don't have any morphine either.
But the train does gradually come to a stop. The fire the crew arrive, with the fire extinguishers and so on and so forth. Looking for the source of the fire, trying to figure out what's gone on. There's some comments about the newfangled electrical lights on the train, causing a problem. But they do, they're going to take their time. The train's going to be stuck here for probably a couple of hours while they go through it thoroughly to try to find the cause of the fire.
Is Eugene still awake?
Eugene has managed to kind of stay awake through everything.
Eugene, tell me, how far is the person or the thing that did summon those
Depending on how long ago they started, I don't know.
But must they be near or?
Do I know the answer to that?
Yes, since you made your Cthulhu Mythos on fire vampires. Fire vampires are not terribly fast. Like, they would not have been able to catch up with the train. And had they not gotten in and burned you, they probably would have been left behind in, 30, 40 seconds. So whoever some of them has to be on the train.
I'm going on a patrol.
Okay. Oh, and for Evelyn and Miles, as you guys are kind of getting the dressing done on Eugene, you notice that it's probably the worst scar that he has, but it's not the only large scar that he has.
Oh, dear. I'm going to not just tend to the wound, but try to kind of keep him from going into shock. Find a glass of water that none of us have drank out of yet, and just try to cool him off, I guess. He's AFK for a second, by the way.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw the note. Okay.
So Gary, you're going off searching for.
Yeah, trying to get to use the commotion to try to find somebody who or something that looks out of place, or I don't know.
All right. Perfect. And what is Miles doing?
I actually want to look out the window to see if there could be more of them on their way while we're just lulled in our complacency.
Gotcha. Okay. So both Miles and Gary can give me spot hidden rolls.
By the way, what time was this roughly?
It's like 4:30 in the morning.
That is kind of lucky.
I'm still half awake.
Yeah, Miles, you're like rubbing your eyes. You're like, I mean, you would think that spotting like a glowing ball of superheated plasma in the night sky would be fairly easy. So you're confident that there's nothing out there. Gary, you kind of like make your way out into the commotion, and there's a bunch of people like, what's going on? These newfangled devices. A bunch of like just general chatter of people. That kind of release of tension now that the immediate danger has passed. But as you're kind of like looking around, you do spot there is an elderly Indian woman who seems to be kind of like looking specifically towards your compartment, and when she catches you kind of come out, you kind of catch her averting her gaze quickly away from the compartment you just came out of.
I'm gonna take my knife and hide it in my sleeve
Okay.
and walk to her.
All right. Give me let's call this a stealth roll with a bonus die.
For the walking or for the hiding? Because I got sleight of hand.
Oh, let's call it a sleight of hand roll with a bonus die. All right. So yeah, you kind of like slip out the knife, kind of slip it up your sleeve. Make your way over.
What is she doing?
Let's see. She is seeing if she notices you. She probably does not. Gonna give her a penalty die because of the crowd. She is like kind of looking like she's trying to fade in with the crowd. Like she was definitely watching your compartment, and when she saw you kind of step out, she turned away from it and tried to fade back into the crowd. But you've got eyes on her, and she doesn't seem to notice you because she's like doing her best to like blend in.
I'm trying to follow her, but at a distance because there's way too much people to stab somebody.
I got you. So yeah, you've got eyes on her. She doesn't seem to notice you, and she does kind of move into the crowd, and she's kind of making her way back to the third class section. So basically, from your first class area into the dining car, which is fairly packed because a lot of people are like having a couple of drinks to calm their nerves before finding out what's going on. And making her way back to the third, basically the third class compartment.
I try to get her while she's transitioning from one card to another.
Perfect. We will definitely call this a stealth, just to see if you take her by surprise or not. Okay.
I yell at her, "She's a witch!"
She's a witch. Burn her.
But does she float?
She's made of wood.
Careful, she'll turn you into a newt.
You are, however, slightly faster than her. So you are up first.
I'm putting my hand on her shoulder to make her face me.
Okay. She does turn to face you.
And I say, "You failed."
Yeah, taunt her. That's a great idea.
Yeah, totally a good idea. Keep taunting her.
That's what I'm doing.
So as she kind of spins around, she will chant under her breath. You don't catch exactly what she says. You do catch the. You do, however, catch the words Nyarlathotep.
I stab her now.
Right. So it takes her 2 rounds to cast the spell. So you get. So round 1 she starts, comes back around to you. Oh, that is an impale. So the way an impale works is because it was a critical. Actually, it might do it automatically. What happens when you click the roll damage button? Okay. So that's the way an impale works is it didn't do it automatically, but impale is maximum damage plus a roll of the damage dice. So it's 8 plus a d8, and you rolled an 8. So yeah, she starts to cast something. You catch the name Nyarlathotep. You can see just kind of at the corners of your vision, your eyesight starts to fade ever so slightly. And then you like basically put that knife like right into her belly for like way more damage than she has hit points.
Holy shit.
I'm just like wiping my knife on her and try to fade away again.
Give me a spot hidden roll and a sanity roll.
That seems appropriate.
All right. As as she started to intone this spell, you caught just the glimmer of like a little bit of a greenish glow from a ring that she's wearing. Kind of draws your attention is the fact that the ring has a blue stone, but is glowing ever so slightly green. So it's definitely not a trick of the light. And then you take a quick look around over your shoulder, and where you got her, where she's transitioning from like the dining car into the 3rd class car, there's nobody has spotted you.
I'm gonna try to grab the ring and just push her on the tracks.
Okay. In the meantime, back in the car. Ooh, the spell actually melts your eyes.
What?
Spell called Strike Blind. If successful, target loses a d10 sanity points and d4 plus 1 hit points as their eyes melt and flow from their sockets.
Jesus. Ew.
That is nasty.
Gross.
So Gary, you can make your way back.
I'm stopping and I order a tall and stiff drink.
All right. The bartenders are quite busy.
I'll steal a bottle then.
Okay.
Sorry, Gary's eyes were just melting.
No, they were about to, but she did get her spell off because he stabbed her.
Oh, okay.
I'm too pretty to be blind.
Too pretty to have melted eyes. And you can make your way back. The rest of you guys, you've got Eugene kind of like up on the bed. There is medical staff on board the train who will kind of tend to his wound to the best of their capability. But they're like, stay off it for a week. When we get to Nairobi, you should check with the hospital. All of the standard sort of things.
As I get back into the cart, I just sit and drink.
So it's going to take the doctor like an hour or so to treat Eugene. He does appreciate the first aid that you did, but he's going to basically clean the wound a little bit better. You know, give him some antibiotics, and give him some advice. And then you guys are left to your own devices.
Um, Gary's back in our car now, right?
Yeah, Gary was
Yeah,
gone for
Okay.
maybe 10 minutes or so.
and he's kind of pale.
What happened?
I'm throwing her the ring. Catch the witch.
What?
I catched the witch.
What witch?
The one that summoned those things.
Oh,
How did you find her in such a crowded train?
She kind of revealed herself as she was trying to walk away from, especially our cart. And when I put my hand on her shoulder, she tried to cast a spell at me.
oh. Are you all right?
No, I'm not.
Are you hurt?
No, no, I'm fine in that regard. She won't be casting any spell soon.
That's good.
I sure hope so.
My mistake. The ring has a red gemstone.
It changed with the mood. It's okay.
Change with the mood.
That ring was a glowing thing while she was doing that chanting thing. She she used the Nyarlathotep word, so I killed her.
Oh, I see.
Now I sure hope that we do that for the greater good because I just damned myself if not. It melted him.
Yes. Uh, yes, it did.
Who know what would have happened if he did not wake up?
This is why we have someone on watch. But I.
I don't even know what I did this. I mean, I did it because I was afraid. I did it because Eugene was laying there. I did.
Well,
Fuck.
she did it once. She was likely to do it again. His followers aren't uh, moral.
Sorry, I was a
They've.
bit passed out there. You
Mm,
guys have any clue on who's fucking with us now?
mhm.
Yeah, that immediate instances, it's taken care of.
Okay,
You can go to sleep.
sorry about that. Uh,
Yeah, break a leg.
Fuck. That's another scar to the pile. Hopefully, it's just a scar.
So yeah, that just. Mm, I'll have a drink or two or 10.
I think that might be for the best. Have a good stiff drink. Try to get back to sleep.
I don't think I'll be able to.
That's understandable too.
3 years ago, I was supposed to be a rabbi, and now I'm a murderer. Books, am I right?
Sorry, what? I feel like I missed a sentence or two.
Don't worry about it. We'll talk later.
Thanks for the save with the fire extinguisher.
That's nothing. You would have done the same, I hope.
Oh yeah, I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that it would work.
There
Like
was.
I went to a more complicated solution because I didn't think water would be enough. From what I read, those things can melt through anything, so I didn't guess that water would work. Some
Occam Razor, my friend. Occam Razor.
sometime you gotta stop thinking too complicated. And I'm talking to
Rest.
my yeah, yeah. Sorry. Ugh, fuck.
You want a drink?
Oh yeah, please.
So I pour a long one in Eugene's mouth.
Okay.
Last time I had a drink was many years ago. But tonight, special occasion. And I
Um,
tried to rest.
okay. And partway through the train stuff will come and they will move you to a new compartment since this one is fire damaged and probably the source of the electrical fault. So they will move you
It
to a.
smells terrible.
It smells terrible. Although Evelyn,
Yeah.
you notice that for the last half hour, 40 minutes or so, the temperature seems to be more tolerable than it was.
More tolerable than it was before the balls of light showed up?
Yeah, like even like just kind of like the general heat of Kenya in July. Seems like it doesn't bother you.
Is the train moving right now?
Not yet.
Okay. Um. I'm going to get a glass of water
Okay.
and sip it and see if the water seems cold,
It does.
like colder than it should.
Nope.
So it's not colder than it had been before we went to sleep.
No, and when you look like the rest of the folks, Miles and Eugene and Gary, they're sweating what you would normally expect when the temperature's like 30 degrees at night.
Mm. um. Well, that's disturbing. Okay. She's not going to say anything. Um, but she does sort of look very uncomfortable as we're sort of settling ourselves again in the train car.
And then probably after about 3 hours or so, the train does get underway again. So yes, only in Call of Cthulhu does "You feel comfortable" get answered with "That's disturbing."
I misheard that as uncomfortable.
No, I was really hoping that it was like air moving through the open windows and the gap in the side of the train. No, no. It's
I
apparently
mean,
just me.
I would be worried if I understood anything that was happening, but
That's okay. You've got some burns to adjust to.
yeah, yeah.
And finally, after a couple of hours, train gets underway again, and a little bit behind schedule. You pull into Nairobi. Nairobi, Nairobi at this point in time is a relatively new colonial town. Um, it's got about 8,000 people compared to like modern day Nairobi has like 500,000. Not far beyond the town is the start of the Aberdare mountain range, um, including Mount Kenya kind of to the northeast and Mount Satima, since you guys have a map, to the north. The elevation here in Nairobi is about 6,000 feet, so it is actually relatively cool and dry. As you guys kind of step off the kind of like sweltering train, it's cool, it's comfortable. The streets of Nairobi have been lined with eucalyptus trees. The nearby swamp has been drained, but it's literally like there's Nairobi, and then there's jungle, and there's not a great deal of space between the two. as you kind of like look around, kind of stretch your legs, you can see that there are um, paramilitary officers. Most of the enlisted men are either black or Asian, and the officers are all white. But there's a definitely British military presence here. And Miles, since you're from Kenya, you're aware that Nairobi is divided into districts. Basically, there is most European colonies and former colonies do this. It's divided by along racial lines. And the divisions are policed and forcibly maintained. There are places here that are marked as like white only. There are separate entrances to administrative facilities. Jails are segregated. The toilets are like emphatically separated. Generally speaking, whites who want to be rebellious can go to other areas, but it does not work the other way. And as you guys are like disembarking from the train, Endicott will kind of meet up with you and say like, that was quite the trouble last night. And he kind of looks at Eugene. He's like, oh, I assume I had heard that your carriage was the source of the issue.
When did you hear that?
Oh, it's been all the talk. Last several hours, for the very least. They moved you to better quarters, I assume.
Yeah.
Oh,
They did.
I will be heading to my lodge shortly. When you feel up to it, of course, the invitation is still open. But if you wish to take some time to recover before coming out, I certainly agree. And he'll kind of like jot down directions and pass them to Miles. It's like, you shouldn't have too much trouble finding your way, great hunter that you are. But I'm afraid I've been away for too long and must get back.
Lovely seeing you again. I'm sure we'll see you again soon, Colonel.
Thank you. And you guys are left to your own devices in Nairobi.
Let us find an hospital. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be necessary.
Yes.
Let's try to find a good one. We're gonna try to find an hospital.
So yes, you can find a hospital easily. There is the Highlands Breeze Hospital. You can get Eugene checked in if you would like to.
I think I'm gonna need some.
Would be for the best.
I didn't follow your thought about what happened. Any chance I'll be attacked again while I'm in the hospital?
Not by that particular caster.
Okay, I trust you on that.
So in Nairobi, it's going to take Eugene at least a week to start to recover. What are you guys gonna do?
We're gonna
I think
prepare for the hunt.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good idea to go start getting supplies, look for a guide, maybe some cursory scouting, that not close, of course, but just to get a lay of the land.
I'm gonna stay in my room, follow the doctor's instruction, get my treatment, and do some terrible reading.
Okay.
Alvin is your buddy.
Yeah,
Yep.
Alvin will be your reading buddy.
Excellent. I was gonna propose. I was gonna ask if someone wanted to stay with me while I was reading, but yeah, I got an Alvin.
And what would Evelyn like to do?
Oh dear. I can't say that I like the idea of any of us being alone. Um,
I'm not alone. I got Alvin.
yes, he's not well versed.
Yeah, but he can stop me if I start night walking or doing something
You
strange.
won't. You won't
I
walk.
won't. Yeah, yeah, that's also true.
I suppose. All right. Um, if Miles and Gary are going, then I'll go with them.
Okay. Right. So I will get one of you to give me. Let's call it a luck roll.
My luck is
I'm at
only 19.
39.
Um,
I am really happy I'm not there.
46.
Evelyn, it's your turn to roll terribly.
I'm shocked that I'm the lucky one because that's about to be proven wrong. What? Holy shit.
And also, since Miles is the lowest luck, I'll get him to roll as well. Basically, Evelyn is rolling to see if good things happen for you, and Miles is rolling to see if bad things happen for you.
I mean, it could have been worse.
69.
It's kind of funny.
Nice.
You guys basically spend the week kind of getting the lay of land. You check into a local hotel, start laying in supplies for an expedition. Miles, you're a skilled hunter. You know what you need to get, like how much of each thing you need to get. Start putting up feelers to see if you can find guides. There's a lot of people, like as soon as word gets out as to where you're looking to go, anybody who might have volunteered to guide pretty much dries up. No amount of money, no amount of persuasion, no amount of sweet talk. As soon as people find out that where you are headed, like doors slam in your face, windows close, shutters, like the whole nine yards, like you're pretty sure you see a couple of people like giving you the sign to ward off the evil eye. Like this mountain has a reputation here in Nairobi. And I'll get the group that's going out and about to give me spot hidden rolls.
Any one of us in particular?
All of you.
Oh,
Just not me.
Those are pretty shoes.
this is boding really, really badly for our Forbidden Lands game tomorrow night.
That's
getting, like-
fine.
I'm getting Desi type rolls, and that's gonna go badly, so badly.
All right. So Evelyn and Miles, as you guys travel about, you notice that. I mean, there's there's a number of times where you catch people like looking at you, watching where you go. And at first, you kind of talk it up to the fact, like, we're new here, maybe, but they're definitely watching you, and there's a number of them. It doesn't seem like there's any sort of coordination. Neither one of you pick up like that guy watches for a little bit and then they pass it off to this other person, and it's not a feeling of constant surveillance. But over the course of the week, you do notice that you are being watched. And both of you also notice that most of those people that are watching you, when you look at carefully, have very large and familiar looking knives.
Oh, damn it.
What?
See the knife on that fellow's hip?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
what?
take it they're the ones from New York, Chris?
They are.
Yeah. They're part of a cult that we ran into in New York. They're dedicated to the fellow we're trying to stop. Bloody Tongue, wasn't it, Chris?
Yes, the Cult of the Bloody Tongue.
Cult of the Bloody Tongue. And I've seen a few of them. And they're watching us.
Should we do like we don't know exactly what we should do like if we do not know that they're looking at us. Whatever I'm trying to say.
Pretend we don't notice them? And
Yeah,
try.
pardon my French.
I'm trying to think the way Alvin would, and it's making my head hurt. Miles, you're good at big game hunting. Lure them into some sort of trap or something?
I would have to lure them into an actual trap.
There's not quite enough traffic to lure them into here. It's not quite New York.
Right. And towards the end of the week, well, you guys are debating what to do, because it's not a matter of like there's one or two cultists. There's like over the course of the week, you guys clock dozens, if not hundreds of them. I mean, at a certain point, you start to think that maybe you're just overly paranoid.
Is there really such a thing as overly paranoid in Call of Cthulhu?
But Eugene can give me a con roll with a bonus die.
Con with a bonus die.
So at the end of the week, Eugene regains 3 hit points. Which is enough to bring his major wound, to close up his major wound, and he will now recover normally from rest at the rate of 1 hit point per day. But since your major wound is healed, you are no longer in imminent danger of death.
I appreciate it.
As long as your major wound is checked, if your hit points is 0, there's a chance of death.
Huh. Let's not do that.
But Eugene will be as good as new in another 6 days. You guys can decide what you would like to do.
But I don't need to be at the hospital anymore.
You don't need to be at the hospital anymore.
Did I manage to get some reading done while I was there?
Sure. Which book are you reading?
I think the Book of Dyson I could read in a week.
Good old Book of Dazan. Somebody has to read the books.
Yeah.
The Book of Dazan is actually 14 days.
Okay. I thought it was a week.
No. A week is Africa's Dark Secrets. Amongst the Stones. Ooh, not the Libre Vaz. Life as a God is 10 days. Oh, haven't found that one yet. So it's like Amongst the Stones and Africa's Dark Secrets are the ones that you can bang out in a week.
I'll go with Amongst the Stone.
+1 to Cthulhu Mythos. 2 sanity point loss. That's not terrible.
Manageable. While I'm medically watched.
Yeah. So Amongst the Stones seems to have a great deal of information on the on Natokris and her regal paraphernalia. Nothing super pertinent to what you guys are currently investigating.
Yeah, but I mean, if Nitocris has been freed, we better know those things.
Yeah. And actually, over the course of the week, assuming you guys are keeping abreast of papers, there is a significant amount of strife in Egypt, in the Cairo area. A lot of people, the kind of like heated tensions between the Egyptians and the British is like starting to kind of boil and bubble over. it seems like you guys got out of there before things went bad.
In Nairobi, or in
Ca-
Egypt.
in Cairo.
Okay. Good thing we don't have to go back there for a while.
And also, like, after, towards the end, like when you guys kind of pick up Eugene from the hospital, you get back to your hotel, and there is a note waiting for you.
What does it say?
The note says, one second, where is the note? What's things? It directs you or asks you to meet a Johnstone Kenyatta in Swahili Town.
Do you know that person?
You look confused, Gary. Why is that?
I'm sorry, I'm still not. It's just. I mean, it's all fun and games until somebody lose a leg or something. I mean, I knew what we do was risky and hard. I mean, but it's kind of it's getting. I mean, it's just dawning on me how real it is.
I suppose
Yeah.
that's understandable.
Sorry you got dragged into all that.
It's okay. I mean, you're not responsible for that.
Well, not sure it helps, but I'm glad you're there.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
I'll do my best to get you home.
Oh, I mean, now let's just finish this.
Yep. Like, anybody has any idea who that guy who invited us over in the not so safe part of town is?
Personally, I don't have any idea, no.
'Cause that note is awfully vague.
Hmm. Was there a time or date on it or anything?
Nope.
Oh, lovely. Well,
Evelyn, actually, and only Evelyn, can make a intelligence roll.
oh dear. That's not encouraging. We're gonna die tomorrow night. Just. I'm using all my dice luck tonight, and I don't know why.
So the name kind of like stands out to you. And you kind of think for a moment, and the name Johnson Kenyatta was mentioned in Elias's notes. Apparently, Elias interviewed him, and Kenyatta was the one that said that the Carlisle expedition was performed by the Cult of the Bloody Tongue. To the point he actually insisted on it.
He insisted that what?
He insisted
That they were.
He insisted that the Bloody Tongue was responsible for the murder of the Carlisle expedition.
Thank you.
And the Bloody Tongue are those guys that are following us at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds lovely.
Well, the good news is he's not likely to want us dead. He's most likely on our side. Although, maybe he's local. That would be nice.
He absolutely is local.
Because we need a guide.
Swahili Town. I mean, that's definitely not from New York.
Well, I mean, I can meet anyone anywhere, but that doesn't mean I'm from that place. But when we were out, and she'll look at Eugene since he wasn't there, when we were trying to find a guide and some help this week, no one was interested in taking us up on the offer. People were closing the door before they even heard the offer. No one
bad.
wants to be involved. And given
That
how
bad,
many people, and given how many people I've spotted with Cult of the Bloody Tongue daggers on their hips, that's probably why.
The friend of I don't remember his name, but Miles' friend. He said he could find us a guide to go there if we help him with his beast.
Oh,
And I assume his beast is something more than what the jungle has to offer. And
I
we
mean,
usually go investigate that kind of sightings, and we have a prime way of doing that. Still need a few days of sleep to be fully functional, but I think it could be worth it. If it could allow us to find a guide.
I think we definitely need to meet with the fellow. I'm just not sure where or when.
The one from Swahili Town?
Uh-huh.
Swahili Town is basically the segregated native African area of Nairobi.
We're going to stand out like sore thumbs.
Seems like we already do.
Well, true. That is very true.
I'm even more scarred than before. I'll probably look even more like a tug.
So are we going?
Mm-hmm.
Let's prepare as if it was a trap, though.
What isn't?
Good point.
Right. So you guys are going to Swahili Town?
Think so.
Basically, it's down on the southern side of Nairobi. Swahili Town. It's basically it's like a shanty town. Uh, the houses are slapped together out of whatever they could find. Pieces of corrugated metal, old like plywood. Just everything is cobbled together, run down. It is stark contrast to the city proper. Um, Everywhere you look, there's little children kind of like looking at you like from a distance, and when you kind of look at them, they kind of giggle and run away. Not like they're afraid, but they're just kids being kids. You don't stand out as much as you would have feared because there are other white people here. Basically, a lot of the European colonists think it's exciting. But a little bit of asking around, and you are sent to the Kikuyu Central Association. Um, like a little bit of a storefront for what passes for like an attempt at self-governance. And
The Akuyu what?
Kikuyu, Kikuyu,
Okay.
Central Association.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
what was that spelling again?
Kikuyu. They Miles would be aware they're one of the indigenous people of the area. And not super happy with their lot, as one would expect. But the gentleman that's there at the storefront looks genuinely pleased to see you. He actually stands up. He just says, "Greetings. My name is Johnson Kenyatta. I assume that you got the message that I left."
We didn't. We're a bit curious as to why you were inquiring about us.
I was I knew your friend Mr. Elias, and I know what you are looking for.
Yeah?
My my grandfather was a Murogi, a diviner. And although I've tried to leave that world behind for the modern world, I believe that there are traces of him that still cling to me.
Some things you can get out of, but it won't get out of you.
Yes. When I met with Mr. Elias, I had a feeling that he was doomed. That what he was pursuing, he would not live to see through to the end. But as often the case, there are those who will take up the mantle. And when I heard of your arrival, it felt right, if you know what I mean. Mr. Elias did not believe me when I told him that the cult of the Bloody Tongue was active. At least not at first. But of late, there have been more disappearances in the tribal villages. There have been more people coming through Mombasa and Nairobi. I believe that they are up to something monumental. I assume I'm not wrong.
Oh. I could not confirm exactly what they're up to, but I fear the worst.
I have someone you should speak with. The Elder Bandari. He is similar in many ways to my grandfather. I did not send Elias to him. I knew Elias was doomed, and I did not want to burden my friend. But perhaps you would be interested in meeting with him. Your destinies are unwritten.
Best we can hope for right now. Yes, if you think he could be of assistance. We have not met with many helpful pact around here that get us closer to fixing this.
Well, you'll find little assistance locally. The people live in fear of the Bloody Tongue. They believe
I can understand why.
They believe they worship a god that is not of Africa. They believe that their tribal protections are of no use. They believe that the Bloody Tongue is unstoppable and they will not work against them.
Is it just me, or is there way more bloody tongue around here than I would have expected? Do people join them out of fear?
Many join out of fear, promises of power, promises of, whatever they need to say to recruit members.
Yeah.
If you'll excuse me for a moment, I will make arrangements for you to get to Burundi, or Bandari.
How far is it from here?
It will take some time.
Okay.
And so he basically gets up and leaves, goes outside. You see him talking to some people. After a couple of minutes, he comes back. He says, "A friend of mine is waiting outside. You must follow him at a distance. He'll make sure you're not left behind. If he stops and waits, you stop and wait. Eventually, he will come to a building with a yellow door. You will enter the door swiftly and without hesitation." And then he kind of stands up and says, "I'm glad to have met you." And he'll actually hold out his hand to each of you.
I'll shake his hand. Watching him try to, he seems friendly enough, but I check for traces of deception on him.
Yep. You can make psychology rolls.
because everything is not what it seems and everything is dangerous. Psychology?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Uh,
There is no trace of deception amongst him.
That is somehow frightening.
I'll nod to the others. Because,
Well, that was odd.
yep.
So when you go outside, there is a very tall, very tall black man wearing like a white shirt, um, dark pants, no shoes. Kind of like just kind of looks at you, kind of smiles, and then turns and starts walking away.
I'll give him some space.
He leads you through the kind of shanty town. Most of the houses are like one room, like mud buildings. Some of them are roofed with like grass and leaves. Occasionally, some have like shingles or tile roofs. And the ones that have like the shingled or tile roofs do seem to be in better repair. Eventually, the guide stops before a yellow painted door, turns to look at you, and then steps through into the building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to get in as swiftly as possible. Like, not running, but just, like you said, without hesitation.
Right.
I'm not the best at this, but while we go, if we want to check if we're followed and stuff like that,
Yep.
could be an idea.
Make a spot hidden roll.
That seems like a
Okay.
good idea. Can I do one again too?
Sure. Anybody who is paranoid to be looking around can make a spot hidden.
Okay.
I have entered the world of paranoia. I'm sadly not good at spotting things. And I shut up now.
Holy hell!
I'm sorry.
Oh man.
We are fucked tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be terrible. I'm so gonna die.
Stop saying that.
Trevor
Damn.
and Tony are gonna have to rescue us like constantly. And that's not good because Tony rolls shit. Oh boy.
So all of you are paranoid, and your heads are like just
On a
on
swivel.
swivels. There is no sign of any of the members of the Bloody Tongue anywhere.
That's good, right?
Yeah, this guy knows routes where they are not. That's great.
Or
Oh yeah,
it
but
means
the
they're
guy
all busy doing something.
possibly, but I don't think it's a trap. The guy who sent us over was truthful.
And a friend of Jackson's.
He didn't seem like he was lying when he said that.
Right. So, huh. I'm going to hope that we're not seeing anyone from the cult because this fellow is guiding us well. and avoiding them, as opposed to we're not seeing them because they're all busy getting up to something
Or preparing for us.
or preparing for us. Yep. Um, I'd like to be hopeful, but man,
It's
I
Hope is getting beated out of us, so
mm,
it's a hard.
a little bit, a little bit.
So as you step in through the yellow door, you find yourselves in a small shed, standing beside a high-wheeled yellow Rolls Royce, like roadster, in kind of like some state of disrepair. And the tall gentleman is basically holding the door open and motions for you to sit in the car.
Will do.
That's unconventional, but I'll accept it.
Okay.
As you kind of slide in, I mean, it's a Rolls Royce. It's a big car.
Mm.
He waits for you all to kind of get in, kind of closes the door, goes around to the driver's side, starts it up, and in a few minutes you are basically kind of like bouncing along a dirt track, heading outside of Nairobi
In a Rolls Royce?
in a Rolls Royce, in a yellow
Wow.
Rolls Royce.
That's uncommon.
This is the strangest car ride I think I've had yet. And I've almost died twice in cars.
The driver is he is firmly convinced that he owns the road, and as you drive along, like bicycles scatter out of the way, animal-drawn carts like pull over to the side. There's a long cloud of dust in your wake. It is hot. It is stuffy. You are bounced around a lot. But you do arrive in one piece at a small village after about an hour drive, like an hour drive at speed. And as you pull up, and it's it's what you imagine when you imagine like a 1920s era indigenous village in Kenya. It is like kind of like mud huts and so on. He stops. He gets out. He kind of turns, holds up his hand. He hasn't said a word to you the whole time. Kind of motions for you to stay in the vehicle. He gets out, talks to this young man, probably in his 20s. They seem to talk at length. You can't hear what they're saying, but from the body language, it looks like the guide is basically trying to be persuasive, and the other gentleman is looking apprehensive. And while this conversation is happening, there are like the village children kind of gathering around the car, coming right up to the windows, peering inside, very like politely curious.
I'll probably end up being seated on the side where the good side of my face is.
Okay.
And if the kids peer through the window, if I turn my head, they'll see the rest.
And if you make any, like if you wave at the kids or anything, they kind of like giggle and whisper. Some of them run away, just kids being kids.
Mm.
It's kind of nice seeing some degree of normalcy.
And it seems like whatever discussion is happening between the guide and the young man is concluded. The guide motions for you to come out.
We will stretch our legs.
The young man basically comes up, says, in almost unaccented English, says, "Why do you wish to speak with Bandari?"
would appreciate.
Because of the bloody tongue.
Kind of looks you over. Says, Bandari will see you. Right this way. And as he kind of motions, it's almost like as he kind of motions for you to follow them, he does nod and he's like, says, Miss Collins, Mr. Lafayette, Mr. Franklin, Mr. Abrahams, Mr. Sharp.
She'll kind of twitch when he addresses her by name. The last person who did this, it's really disturbing.
Sore thumb, Evelyn. Sore thumb.
This is the third, I think, person who's addressed me by name without introductions first. It never turns out well.
Bandari has seen you in visions granted to him by Nagai. He is aware of your presence.
Does Nagai mean anything to me? It doesn't sound
Should ask
familiar.
that.
You can make an occult roll.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And then you can do Cthulhu Myth.
All right. Evelyn, you are aware that Nagai is basically the kind of the supreme god for the Kikuyu people, creator of the universe and all that is in it. Basically, if it is a monotheistic religion, he is God.
Okay.
So, but it is something you're aware of as being a real world religion as opposed to this pseudo mythology you've stumbled across.
Yeah.
And as this young man kind of leads you towards a hut, he says, Bandari has been expecting you for quite some time.
Well, glad we made it.
And he will lead you into a fairly large hut. The hut itself is it's constructed like there's a gated fence around it. The door is only a curtain, but the house is like a snail shell, so the entrance passage kind of winds around before opening into the central room. So like a very long hallway along the inner circle, and the whole way, even though it is unlit, you can see faintly that there are signs and symbols arranged into arcane patterns in the roof, in the dirt floor, in the walls, and again, occult rolls. Actually, occult and Cthulhu Mythos.
Sorry?
Occult and Cthulhu Mythos.
From everybody? Again?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, Miles. Okay. All right. So Miles and Evelyn, you recognize some of the symbols that you see are they're warding symbols. like tribal warding symbols. Miles, you've seen these before on like some of the villages and stuff. The tribal elders, the tribal wise people will use them to protect. And Evelyn and wait, yeah, Evelyn and Eugene worked in amongst those occult symbols. Those warding signs are symbols that relate to some of the gods from that pseudo mythology, that proto mythology. Specifically, there are symbols that you've seen in the books you've read pertaining to Nyarlathotep in different forms. So it looks like there's a combination of conventional occult warding symbols and symbology for Nyarlathotep. And as you kind of walk this kind of circle leading into the central room, for the first time and possibly forever, you feel oddly at peace. You don't feel like you're being watched by anyone or anything.
I'm gonna need to learn to make those.
It's like this weight has been lifted off your shoulders as you enter into this sacred space. And in the center of this very sparse room, which is painted with more signs and symbols that you can see by like the torchlights that have been lit here. There's a small, very old man sitting so still that he seems to be dead. And as you enter, the young man that's led you basically goes up and unfolds one of his legs and rubs it. Those of you who are trained in medicine know that this is basically to restore circulation. It says, Bandari is currently on the other side. Please sit and wait. He will speak with you when he returns.
On. Oh, never mind.
I turn to Evelyn. Do you think it's astral projection or dreamland?
And Evelyn will kind of lean in. I think it's most likely Dreamland.
That's nice.
That would be my guess.
Eugene tried to make himself comfortable so that there's no pressure in any of his wound and he can sit a bit.
Yep. And there's no furniture here other than like a cot for sleeping on. So it's a lot of like, sitting down on the floor, as comfortable as you can be, as you wait for this old man to return from wherever he may be.
Eugene is just basking in the calm, like not being watched.
But as you wait for him to return, we'll call it there. Everybody can roll to see if they gain any luck. Oh, get some luck for Miles.
Did I roll? Because I didn't see anything.
I didn't see it, no.
I'll try again. Just don't want to click it twice and roll it twice. It didn't do anything.
Yeah. Some luck for Evelyn and
Holy.
some luck for Eugene. And also, everybody gains 3 sanity from this slight respite.
I'll have to wait until you flip it off again to change sanity.
Yeah, while we wait, I'm going to trace the symbol in my book.
Oh.
I mean,
yeah, hit the wrong button.
Sorry?
I feel right and good here, so
Yep.
I'm going to take notes.
Sorry, I clicked luck twice by mistake.
That's okay.
How much sanity, Chris?
3.
Ooh, I'm back up above 40 again.
I'm back
I
at full
can't
with
seem to be
67.
able to. I can't put it.
Yeah, I don't see a. Oh no. Didn't get the luck. Yeah, you'll have to wait until Chris turns off development to be able to change your sanity.
Thanks, sir.
I got it for you, Gary.
Thank you very much. That will show me how to stab witches.
Hmm.
All right.
Reminds me of my bar mitzvah.
One of the days, the story of Gary's bar mitzvah is going to come out, and it's going to be this horrifying tale.
I kind of want someone to go through like all the past episodes and just make notes about his bar mitzvah. Just to, for a list of things that were better or worse.
Because
I had
I
that-
don't remember when I said it.
Well, I think we can find
So-
that, though.
That's even better.
I did
Yeah.
I did something similar with a character tie in a LARP where me and this friend we did a character tie in the past, and all we ever said is, "At least this isn't as bad as Prague," and we never elaborated on what happened in Prague.
I think it's a gamer thing. I did it in a Deadlands game with a friend, but we never specified where or when. We're just like, is this worse than that time? Be like, no, it's not. So we would just refer to it
The
as
first,
that time, and it was never specified.
the first
don't
rule
talk
about
about that
Prague
much.
is you don't talk about Prague.
That's right.
What happens in Prague stays in Prague. Why are you bringing up Prague again?
We said we would be talking about it.
My
I
favorite
love it when gamers do that kind of thing.
my favorite thing about Prague is the fact that there is an event called the Defenestration of Prague.
It happened twice. It happened
Exactly.
twice.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yep.
Oh dear God.
I mean, defenestration is one of my favorite word. Like, I have favorite word, and this is on my top 5. So,
Yeah,
defenestration of Prague is very important.
I like defenestrated and I like bifurcated.
Yeah.
I don't know that other one. What's the bifurcate?
Bifurcated, I believe, is if you cut something in half, but like from top to bottom. So if you like cut a person from like their skull down through their navel and out their ass.
That's bifurcation.
Yeah.
At that point, you can call it whatever you want. You won.
Yep, but I still like the
That's
words.
true. That's true.
Perfect. All right, so we will see everybody next week, which will be the day after Halloween. So we'll see what we can do there.
Ooh, nice.
And some of us will see just how badly Desi rolls tomorrow night in Forbidden.
Oh,
That's right.
I'm dreading it now. I'm seriously concerned.
We'll see how the dice luck carries over tomorrow for Forbidden Lands.
Oh man.
I'll try to be there just to watch.
There we go.